The training ground was loud with shouting, the sharp bark of commands, and the heavy thud of boots on gravel. She stood at the edge of the chaos, just another face in the crowd, hoping no one would notice her. She wasn't there to prove anything. She came to watch, to remember, to feel the old rush without stepping back into the storm. But then, the SEAL commander looked up. He didn't say a word at first, simply stared like he'd seen a ghost. The air seemed to freeze, so laughter around her faltered. Everyone felt the sudden shift, like a storm cloud rolling in without warning. She could feel her heart beat too fast, her throat tightening with the fear of being discovered. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're rewatching from. I love knowing who is listening. She tried to look away, tried to disappear into the crowd, but the commander's gaze held her. It wasn't anger. It wasn't curiosity. It was something deeper: recognition. He stepped forward, and the world narrowed to the space between them. His eyes dropped to her sleeve. He saw the tattoo. The symbol was unmistakable, a mark only earned by those who had walked through hell and returned. The commander's face went pale, as if the ink had reached into his chest and squeezed. He didn't speak. He simply went silent. The crowd around them shifted, whispering. People didn't know what to make of it. Some thought she was an imposter. Others suspected she was someone from a past mission, but she knew the truth was far more complicated. She had once been one of them. She had been a SEAL, and she had left quietly, painfully, without explanation. The tattoo on her arm was a reminder of the promise she'd made, the life she'd survived, and the cost she'd paid. She had come back only to watch, to see if the world still moved the way it used to. The commander took a slow step closer, his eyes never leaving the ink. Silence grew heavy, almost unbearable. The men around him sensed the tension and stopped their training, their bodies still, their attention drawn like iron to a magnet. She thought she'd never see him again. She was wrong. He finally spoke, but his voice was soft, like he was afraid of breaking the moment. "You're alive," he said, as if it was the most shocking news in the world. Her chest tightened. She felt the weight of every memory she'd tried to bury. The faces of her fallen brothers, the nights of doubt, the moments she'd wished she could turn back time. She didn't know if she deserved to be seen again. And then the moral tension hit her like a wave. Was it right to come back? To return to a world that had moved on without her? To be forgiven for leaving when others had stayed? The commander didn't answer. He just nodded once. A silent acknowledgement that spoke louder than any apology. Then he did something no one expected. He saluted her. The entire training ground went quiet. The sound of boots, the shouting, the wind, all of it faded into the background. The salute wasn't just respect, it was a welcome back, a recognition of what she'd endured and what she'd survived. She lowered her gaze, tears threatening to spill. The silence in the air was not empty anymore. It was full of meaning. Because in that moment, she realized something. She didn't have to prove herself. She only had to be brave enough to return. Because courage doesn't disappear, it waits, and it finds its way back. And as the sun dipped low, casting long shadows across the gravel, she stood there no longer just a watcher, but part of the story again. If this story moved you, hit like, comment, and subscribe to Whispered Words for more real mission stories and unforgettable moments.